Yeah, good morning, students. So previous classes we discussed about the we discussed about the yeah previous classes we discussed about the in block one club aggregation of aggregations and reductions. So in this block we discussed about the clubbing of income, set-offs and carry forwards. And in block two we discussed about the deductions from the gross total income. So here that whatever the deductions are there, the deductions we we divided into two chapters. So deductions from gross total income. So of deduction from gross total income under section 80, whatever deductions are there, we divided into two chapters. So in black 2, we covered about the we discussed deductions from the gross total income. Black 3, it is talking about the computation of total income tax. So here we are talking about the first in unit 5, computation of total income of individuals and computation of tax and revisionary problems. So already we discussed these three blocks. Remaining chapters left, that is block 4, assessment, income tax authorities, assessment procedures, income tax authorities, assessment procedures, and appeals and revisions. So up to block 3, this is totally practical related, and that talks about the how to calculate that income tax and how to computation of total tax. So this all are we discussed about it. All are we discussed about it. So in block 4 and block 5, we're talking about the what is the income tax authorities are there, what procedure they are going to follow to calculation of tax liability and to charge off the tax liability, and if there any problem, how we are going to appeal that, how we are going to revision it. So what is the procedure to collection of tax and lapse and consequences. This all block 4 and block 5 talks about the income tax governance. So tax department governance we are going to discuss. So before this, these two blocks, very theoretical part only. Just we need to know what is what. So the important topic is revisionary problems. So 7th unit, again, I'm going to talk some of the problems which we are left previous class. So again, I'm going to talk about that. Okay, right. Actually, this unit name is, they given some mistake. That is income tax authority. This one is income tax authorities. So before talking about it, some of the problems, again, I want to explain that. I'll share it. So already in last class already I explained this all the problems. Okay, just I'm looking any problem is missing previously. That problem I will explain. Otherwise, I'll go to the next topic. So these all are, I think, completed. Yeah, these all are we completed. Better to go for the next topic. See, Unit 8, Income Tax Authorities. So who is the authority? What they are doing? What is their responsibilities and their role? We are going to discuss. So this chapter name is, there is a mistake. This is actually Income Tax Authorities. So here, what is the main purpose of reading this chapter? The main objective of this chapter to explain the various classes of income tax authorities and discuss the power of Central Board of Direct Taxes and list out the functions of various income tax authorities. So these all are we are going to discuss. So generally, income tax department, we have two types of income tax, that is direct taxes and indirect taxes. So direct taxes all are controlled by the Central Board of Direct Taxes. They are the key players to they are the key players to running of smooth functioning of this Central Board of Direct Taxes. Though these income tax related all the transactions, all the rules, all the regulations will be framed by this CBDT only. So under sections 116 Income Tax Act 1961, enumerate that following the classes of income tax. See here, simply they are going to conduct the Central Board of Direct Taxes constituted under the Central Board of Revenue Act 1963. The Director of General Income Tax are Chief Commissioner of Income Tax. So Director of General Income Tax or Chief Commissioner. Next. The Directors of Income Tax are Commissioner of Income Tax, Commissioner of Income Tax Appeals. The Additional Directors of Income Tax, Additional Commissioners, Income Tax of Commissioners, Dan Directors. So these all are body members, those who are going to perform the functioning of income tax department. So there is a deputy joint director, income tax joint director commission, deputy director of income tax, deputy commissioner, and assessing officer of income tax officer, assistant directors of income tax and assistant commissioner of income tax revenues. So tax recovery officers, inspectors of income tax. So these all are the these all are the be treated as a income tax authorities. So what is the Central Board of Direct Taxes? See, actually, the Central Board of Direct Tax it is a autonomous body which is established in the year of 1964, January 1st. And the highest executive committee authority which came into, this is the highest executive authority. The central government make the rules for the purpose of regulations, transactions of business by the board. It functioning mostly administrative and in that spare, it can be modify, cancel and administrative ordered passed by the any other authority of the income tax department. What is the powers of CBDT? What is the powers of CBDT? See, the powers of CBDT, it can declare any association whether in Indian or non-Indian, incorporated or not. to be a company for purpose of act. And it has power to determine the judicial various authorities of mentioned in this act. It can be directed not the tax income of trust engaged in the international welfare and which Indian interest. The board of maybe authority general specified order director of general or director of the perform powers of any of income tax authorities. It determines the functions of directors, inspection, judicial of the commission and income tax authorities, AACs also. It makes the rules and regarding the maintenance of accounts documents required under section 44A. So simply we can say that this this board also issue the general or special circular orders which are not judicial prejudicial assess of the which is feels that necessary expended proper evidence of management. It makes the rules for the whole part of Indian carrying out the purpose of this act. The mode may be relaxed of the requirements given under section chapter aggregation, carry forward and set ups of last direction under section 80 of the act. The Central Board of Direct Taxes is the body of different from the Central Board of Government. The powers given it is the under act of quite distinct. So these all are authorities, these all are powers which they have by the CBDT. What is the Director General of Income Tax? Chief Commissioner of Income Tax. The central government may be appoint a person it thinks fit to be Director General of Chief Commissioner of Income Tax. The jurisdiction of this authority shall be determined by the CVDT, keeping in the view of the area of person, income or cases. What are the function of this person? Director of General of Income Tax or Chief Commissioner of Income Tax. The function, the CBDT may be generally or specially ordered subject to such as a conditions. Restrictions or limitations authorize any director or chief commissioner to perform such functions of any other income tax authority as may be assigned to him. Such order. What are the powers of this general director of general or chief commissioner of income tax? The following are the important powers of the director of general or chief commissioner of income tax. He may be empowered by the board appointed or the income tax authorities below the rank of the assistant commissioner. After giving the assessee reasonable opportunity being heard, the matter of recording reasons can transfer the assessing officer of another. If he has the reason to suspect that any income tax has cancelled or likely to be concealed, consolidated by the any person of the power, when the director of general of the opinion, assessee has submitted the fact of people failed to submit the books of accounts, the director of general can order for the search for the building or place or vehicle, etc. Where the reason suspect about the availability, he can seize any such books of accounts and other documents, money, billions or jewelry, etc. The requisition of books of accounts, where the notice has been issued any person produce books of accounts documents, but books of accounts which is authority to under any law. It can be requisition of such books of accounts to make the inquiry under this act. So these are the powers. These are the powers of Director of Income Tax or Chief Commissioner Officer. Yeah. Directors of Income Tax or Commissioner of Income Tax or Commissioner of income tax appeals. The central government may be appoint such persons as it is think to fit to be directors of income tax or commissioner of income tax or commissioners of income tax appeals or additional directors of income tax. The judiciary of commission directors to be determined by the CBDT, keeping in the with the view of a area or persons of income cases. What is the functions of these members? The board may be give the general or specific orders to a specific order and subject to such as a conditions, restrictions, limitations authorized any director of commission to perform the such functions of income tax authority as may be assigned to him. What are the powers are there? The commissioner is the practical held of the administration. He has the both administration and judicial powers. Commissioner generally has two types of powers. He is the principal power of as under the directions of board. The commissioner may be exercise the powers of assessing officer and also the has power to transfer any cases from the one or more assessing officers subordinating to him to any other assessing officer or officers also subordinate to him. He grants registration to be charitable and religious trust or institutions. He is the authorized to appoint a class 8 class 2 assessing officer of inspector, assessing officer and inspector of income tax. He issue the necessary instruction to inspector to income tax. He is the authorized to transfer cases from the authority to another. He is assigning the functions to inspector of income tax. He is enforced attendance by the witness. He is the empowered to authorize the entry, search and seizure, etc. He may be required books of accounts from the custody of the other authorities. He may make the inquiry under the act. He may be disclosed the any information relating to the assessee. So he sanctioned the reopening of assessing after expiring of 4 years. He may authorize the assessee officer to recover the areas of tax by the sale of defaulted movable property. He may be direct the assessing officer refer to the tribunal against the CID appeals of AS orders. He is also authorized required appellate tribunal to state high court. He can revise the orders passed by the subordinate authority application to the assessing. So these all are powers of director of income tax or commissioner of income tax or commissioner of income tax appeals. Commissioner of income tax appeals. So commissioners appeals shall be performed their functions in respect of such areas such as a persons or classes of persons. Such incomes or classes of incomes as board may be direct. The powers and functions of commissioner appeals are follows. They may enforce the attendance of a person. He may call for the information from the any person. He is authorized to rectify mistakes in the order to passed by the him earlier. He can condolence delay in filing appeals. He may admit appeals without payment of admitted amount of tax. He may decided and dispose of issued raised in appeals. So these all are powers which are having by the commissioner of appeals. Deputy directors income tax, deputy commissioners of income tax are deputy commissioners of appeals. So previously we talking about the income tax director of general, the director of commissioner, director of commissioner of income tax appeals. Here deputy directors. So central government appoint as a deputy director or deputy commissioner or income tax who are subordinate to commissioner of chief commissions. So this is also similarly whatever previously appointed, this one also appointed. Their area operations is specified by the board or any authority. So authorized and their jurisdiction, it can be concurrent with the other such authorities. What is the functions of deputy director of income tax or deputy commissioner of income tax or deputy commissioner of income tax appeals? Here is the empowered to according to sanction levy the additional of income tax companies public not substantially interested. He may authorized by the board of chief commissioner except by the power of assessing officer. He has power to cancel the registration of form which is not genuine form. He is also power to issue the instruction to assessing officer to revise the order issued by the income tax officer. If he receive the application assessing regarding the pending cases. And also, so these are the powers of deputy directors. Now, assistant directors of income tax or assistant commissioner of income tax. Assistant director of income tax, directors or assistant commissioner of income tax appointed by the central government. They shall be performed their function respect of such areas of persons income tax which is board may be direct. What are the powers and functions of authorities as follows? He enforces the instructions for the guidance of assessing officer. He enforces the attendance of witness, take the step to discover the preserve of evidence. If so authorized by the commissioner, he distribute the allocate the work among the assessing officer of subordinate to him. He accord to approval to assessing officer in respect. He is exercised the power of survey. He may make the inquiry under the act of exercise the power of assessing officer in the respect of. He may impose the penalties for the failure of answer questioning, sign settlements, statements, and allow the inspection. Assessing officer. Who is the assessing officer? Assessing officer is the authority who is approached by the assessee time and again. It is he who initiated to assessment. He calls for the return of income and he computes the tax payable by the assessee. He has wide power with the regarding of assessment, reassessment, registration of the time, etc. However, there is also resistance over the authority. Most of the orders passed by him are subject to appeal the appellant assistant commissioner. Assessing officer shall be performed the function respect of such areas of people income tax classes income commissioner may be direct. Any assessee whose place of business situated in jurisdiction of assessing officer, he will be answerable for that assessing officer. In case of the business is conducted more than one place, the location of principal places business will be decided by the jurisdiction of assessing officer. So where the respect of any proceedings under the act, the income tax authority is transferred income tax authority so succeeding may be continuous the proceedings from the stage at which is predecessors left it. But the assessee concerned may be demand that before the proceeding to be continued the previous proceedings or any part of therefore respect. When the director of general is of the opinion that assessee has not submitted the fact properly, failed or submitted the books of accounts, the director of general can order for the searching of building places or vehicles, etc. Where has reason to suspect about their availability, he can seize any such books, accounts, other documents, many billions and jewelers. So these all are same whatever the chief director of income tax officer, chief director, deputy director, whatever the powers are, they same powers also having by them. Section 132(1) empower the assessing officer to carry out search. However, search will be valid in only the following cases. The officer has reasonable ground for believing of that search necessary. He believes that required objective cannot be otherwise attended without an undue delay. He records his reason in writing. Where search has been authorized by one commissioner, but someone the premises to be searched for all outsider is judicial. The commissioner available for locally empowered to the authorized extension of search to permission not mentioned in search authorized issue. The first commissioner where he satisfied that such extension of the search is necessary. If the course of the search certain books, accounts, documents are found, the premises of assessee will be presumed that such assets, books of accounts, etc. belonging etc. belong to the assessee, that their content are true and that signed or written the books of accounts. Summary assessment has made by the AO with prior approval of the inspecting commissioner. Such summary assessment should be made within the period of 120 days. Search and seizure and he can retain such assets would be sufficient satisfying the existing liability, tax liabilities, penalties, interest payable under the Income Tax Act. The Code of Criminal Procedure 1937 relating to the search and seizure would be applied to searches of seizure under this act. The materials obtained by the search of seizure could be validity used for the purpose of assessment, even if such search and seizure have been held by the illegal. Power to call for the information. Assessing officer, assistant assessing officer, IAC may call for the any following furnishing. A form to furnish him with written of the names, address, partners of the form, their prospective shares. A Hindu undivided family to furnish him with written of the names, addresses of the managers and members of the family. A persons who trust and guardian to agent the furnish with them written of the names, the person for whom is trustee and guardian are agent and their addresses. A dealer or broker, a dealer, broker or agent or a stock commodity exchange to furnish statement of the names, addresses of all the persons on whose behalf of transactions have been conducted by him. An assessee to furnish statement of the names and address all the reasons to whom he has paid in any previous year rent, interest, commissioner, royalty, brokerage, interest, etc. of amount exceeding of 1000 together the particular of such payments. Powers of survey. This is not that much of important and this one is important. Tax recovery officer. Who is the tax recovery officers? The recovery officer may be assessing officers who may be authorized by the chief commissioner or commissioner by the special general order. In writing exercise the power of tax recovery officer. Inspector of income tax. Inspector of income tax appointed by the commissioner of income tax. They are subordinates of the assessing officer. They perform such as a functions, executions act are the assigned to them by the assessing officer and other income tax authorities under whom they work. So this is the story about the tax authorities. Tax authorities. Next one is the assessment procedure. Yeah, assessment procedure. So in the chapter, we are going to cover about the objectives, introduction, general principles, self-assessment. So these all are. First, what is the main purpose of this chapter? What is the objective of this chapter? The objective of this unit is discuss the provisions governing and assessment of the income tax laying by the tax. After completing of this unit, you should be able to explain the various provisions relating to the filling or return of the income tax, discuss the provision relating to the filling of return of income, return of income, discuss the procedure of best judgment of assessment and circumstances of reassessment. So this chapter talks about the computation of total income and determination of tax procedure. This procedure laid down by the Act also included the terms assessment may be submission and return of income tax by the assessee ends up the payments of tax by it. During the procedure, there may be various stages. General principles. For the assessing of undertaking, there should be a assessee. It cannot be proceeded with the against of non-existing person. Where it is appear as assessing officer that certain income tax has been received in the provision year by the year ARB or by the both of them together. Open determined to who should be pay the tax authority initiating the proceedings of against him. Returning of income tax. Returning of income tax. Income. Under section 139 subsection 1, every person whose total income to the previous year exceed the maximum amount which is not chargeable under the income tax shall be furnished the return of his income voluntarily in the prescribed format, get verified in the prescribed manner. For the assessment year 2017-18, this limit is 2,50,000. In these words, in individuals whose assessment assessable 56 does not exceed the 2,50,000. So now also the application, the slab rates are changed. So according to the present under your problem is what is the assessment year, what is the previous year. Based on that, your slab rates will be decided. The return envisaged here, the return total of income tax earned by the assessee for the financial year immediately preceding of assessment year. Due dates for filling the returns of income tax as follows. Where the assessee is a company, September 30 is the assessment year. Where the assessee is the person other than company who required to get his account audit by the 13th September assessment year. In other case, 31st July is the assessment year. So this is the due dates of the returns of income tax. And prescribed forms returns, submission of income tax returns, Rule 12. So first ITR form 1 talks about the individuals having the income from salary and interest. See appendix. See these related practical problems also I will give. And ITR 2, individuals and HUF not having the business or professional income. And ITR 3 talking about the individuals HUF being a partners, not carrying the business or profession. ITR 4, individuals HUF having the income from house property, business income or professions. ITR 5, forms AOP's body of individuals. ITR 6, the companies other than the companies claiming the expenditure. ITR 7, for the person including that furnishing under the section 139 A, 4B, 4C, 4D. ITR 8, return of fringe benefits. So these all are important ITR forms. According to this prescribed mode, we are going to submit the income tax filing returns. Filing return employee with the is employer. Any person who is an individual and is receipts of income chargeable under the head of salary may at his option furnish of return his income for the any previous year his to his employer in accordance with the scheme by notify the board of behalf. Such employer shall be furnished for all the return income tax received by him, behalf of due to date, including floppy, CD-ROM, etc. manner specified the scheme. Such cases employee who has failed that it may be they are going to fail. They are going to return. Deemed to be furnish the return of income tax under section 139(1). Method of filing return. Furnish the income paper, furnish the return paper, assessing, submitting the directly income tax department. Furnish the return on electronically under the digital signature. E-filing return, it is mandatory for the return of electronic digital signature if the total income of individuals more than 10 lakhs. Penalty for non-filing return 217F. See, in case of person failed to submit their returns, the relevant assessment, a penalty of 5,000 shall be imposed such person. Willful failure to furnish the return income also, resection under section 76. Return of loss. If is not the profit of income, only assessee required to submit his return, but it is the important to submit the return of assessee suffer the loss business from the capital assets. The benefit carry forward set of the end next year also. Related belated returns. Any person who is not submitted the return within the specified period, time allowed under the section 139(1). Under section 142. Revised return. Under section 139, whatever the already return is submitted, if there any mistake is there, revised return also they are going to submit. Defective return. So section 139, subsection 9 talks about the way the assessment officer consider defective given return discretion, discretion, intimate the defect the taxpayers given by the opportunity to rectify the defect within the period of 15 days from the date of intimation. Permanent account number. See, permanent account number, it is a well-known for everyone. So PAN card is issued by the income tax department authorities. For those who are paying the tax and those who are not paying the tax also, they can avail this PAN card. This is the permanent account number and it is the identity of the assessee. Every person engaged in the business or profession applying this gross turnover is received to exceed the 5 lakhs. Who should sign the return? In case of individuals, that individual person can sign. In case of HUL, Karta will do the sign. In case of company managing partner or where for the any unavoidable reason the managing partner not able to sign, verify the managing partner such as any other persons. In case of company managing director, in case of local authority, principal officer, in case of any other association, the other member, in case of other person, by that any person, they can going to sign. Self-assessment. Section 140A talks about the self-assessment. So that is under section 140 talks about the self-assessment. So it is themselves they are going to submit the filing returns. In inquiry before the assessment, section 142. best judgment assets. So these all are the compulsory best judgment assets under section 144. Summary, rectification of mistakes. So these all are the very important. So this summary rectification of mistakes. So if there are any mistakes identified, that mistakes also they are going to be submitted. And also the reassessment of income tax escaping the assessment section 147. They're going to reassessment that. So these all are very important theoretical rules, regulations for the submission of income tax department, income tax filing returns for the income tax department. In next class, we are going to discuss about the last black. So whatever is there, that all we are going to discuss. Just go through once. Yeah. In next class, we have that black 5. There are 3 units are there. Unit 10 talking about the appeals and revisions, and unit 11 talking about the collection of tax, and unit 12 talking about the lapse of consequency. So this all are we are going to discuss in the next class. So this is the very simple. So if you have the basic idea, basic knowledge about the income tax, you are able to find out that how to calculation of tax liability, how to calculation of total income of assessee. So what is the procedure we have to follow? What are the deductions we are going to follow? That all are we are going to give that. So this is go through that.